People are starting to all look exactly the same, and most of this is because of plastic surgery. Famous model Gabriette and that one white girl who wore a do-rag to the Met Gala, Amelia Gray, I think her name is, both look exactly the same. But that's probably a different story entirely.
We all look the same now, and no one's talking about it. It feels like our brains have been trained to chase this perfect face over and over and over again, like a slot machine chasing the perfect combo. There used to be so much mystery and diversity to women. Faces were textured, asymmetrical, and expressive. But then somewhere between the 2010s, beauty shifted from individuality to industry. Everyone has the same lips, the same razor sharp jawlines, the same cheeks, and same dead eyes, all because conformity is profitable. Bring back real faces. Beauty isn't supposed to be boring and predictable. It doesn't beg for likes and approval. It simply just is.
I'm starting a new series called Exploitation Exposed about possible exploitative industries and influencers. And I started a subreddit to go along with the series called r/exploitation exposed. Though I want the subreddit to go beyond just my channel, where we can bring to light exploitative people and industries in general, predominantly in the social media space. If you have cases where you think an influencer or industry is being exploitative, post it on the subreddit and I'll look into those cases and cover them on this channel. The first video I wanted to do on this series is on the plastic surgery industry because it's such a prevalent topic right now, especially in relation to how influencers and celebrities are being utilized to promote different plastic surgery trends. So let's get into it. I want to clarify, I'll talk about my personal story at the end of this video, but I am not 100% natural. This video is not to shame anyone who's gotten plastic surgery or injections, as that would be incredibly hypocritical. This video is to examine the system that many of us have been a part of and what path it may be going down. If you're getting plastic surgery and it's your personal choice for your personal reasons, more power to you. We're becoming a homogenous blob through dangerous surgeries being promoted to the masses. And influencers are acting as both the swindlers and the patsies. To be fair to influencers, they may even be unknowingly promoting these plastic surgeries, participating in a beauty culture beyond their control, a beast of its own making, just through their job being influencing and posting photos where people can see obvious changes in their appearances. Influencers are promoting the plastic surgery that they're getting done. And the entire industry of plastic surgery has completely changed from something that people would occasionally have done to themselves if they were dealing with maybe a debilitating issue or a serious insecurity, to now a trend cycle where people pour thousands of dollars into a surgery, get a life-altering procedure, and tons of downtime just to keep up with the latest beauty trend.
Mark my words, the plastic surgery epidemic obsession with perfection is going to become the new BBL years from now. People are going to look back and be like, oh my God, why the did we all get surgery? And then, everyone's gonna want to be natural. Natural beauty is going to be in.
It all feels extremely dystopic. It's like we're all living in this rat race trying to keep up with the people at the very top to ensure we're not being left behind, but we're not really looking behind us or to the future, I guess, of the younger generations and how this is going to affect them.
Young women are now getting injectables in their face, of which they don't know the full repercussions or causes of. Similar to how we didn't know that breast implants would cause breast implant illness. We're still learning these things. We're discussing how this generation is doing it because of the previous generation, and the longer that we continue to normalize it, the more that it'll affect the younger generation. I already see it. The drunk elephant skincare for 12-year-olds was the beginning of this. Okay, 13 and 14-year-olds saying that they see a girl on TikTok who has a single wrinkle and being like, she's 60, she's got to be 60, we're cooked. That is a whole misperception of age and aging because of the way that young women as a whole have felt the need to alter their appearances to an unrecognizable degree with injectables. 10 years ago, we were having discussions about Dove and Aerie and other companies and brands not being inclusive or photoshopping women or showing an unrealistic body image, and we were holding them accountable. Now, they do not have the same pull, and instead young women, especially, are turning to individuals and influencers as to who to be, what to wear, what to look like, and all these sorts of things. And while we may not be able to hold these individuals accountable or change what they do or this and that, we can still have these sorts of discussions specifically around the repercussions and the issues that it's creating. I think whether or not these people are saying you should go get plastic surgery, if you have very visible plastic surgery and your job as an influencer, subliminal or not, you are influencing the young people who follow you to look or strive to look like you do.
When the modern beauty standard requires you to get surgery in order to be deemed acceptable, what is that going to look like in 10 to 15 years? Also, that kind of sounds like a scam, reliant on creating insecurities within people that may or may not actually exist in the real world, creating an aesthetic based on a celebrity or influencer image and selling that to the masses to get you to want to get surgery to look like these people. And in turn, we all just end up looking the same. And the problem is multiplying and getting worse. Now we're living in a world where you need plastic surgery to keep up with beauty trends. There is no doubt that celebrities and influencers are being utilized as spokespeople for the plastic surgery industry, whether they're aware of this or not. So let's talk about it and the implications of this. Also, I'm about to mention a lot of different plastic surgeons' names, and I will probably mess up a lot of them. I'm so sorry. I'm going to try my best. In July of 2021, through social media, Marc Jacobs documented every detail of his recovery from a deep plane facelift, which was performed by Dr. Giacono. Dr. Giacono praised Marc Jacobs for sharing all the details of his plastic surgery, saying, "When someone of Marc's status is sharing, it helps people realize that there are things we can all do to maintain ourselves and enhance our appearance. It sends people a message. Yes, it's possible to look like yourself. It's not as bad as you think, and you can get the results you want without looking like you had bad plastic surgery," the plastic surgeon said in an interview with Vogue. The reality is, a high-profile celebrity sharing the ins and outs of invasive plastic surgery, especially the recovery process, can have both positives and negatives. On one hand, it sheds light on the recovery process, the downtime, the more ugly side to plastic surgery that we don't often get to see when you just see the before and after photos. On the other hand, it may indirectly promote the plastic surgery procedure itself and the surgeon who did the procedure. Of course, the surgeon was over the moon about Marc Jacobs sharing the process for the plastic surgery. It was a massive promotion for his business. Marc Jacobs is not the only celebrity who has promoted a plastic surgeon. In fact, the list of celebrities that have promoted plastic surgery and their surgeon is extensive, and I find that very interesting. Talk show host Kelly Ripa wrote about her love of Botox in her book. She wrote about her injector, "Dear Dr. Anolik, the true love of my life. Thank you for keeping me 5 to 10 years younger looking than I am. Love, Kelly XO." She wrote this on the inscription of her book, which she shared onto Instagram. Gwyneth Paltrow has been another celebrity who's widely shared her love of Botox, often writing about it on Goop, her blog/woo-woo business. When you think of celebrities and plastic surgery, the immediate name that comes to mind is, of course, the Kardashians. But something I think is really interesting is how many times the Kardashians have directly promoted a specific plastic surgeon. On an episode of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, Kourtney Kardashian visits Dr. Jason Diamond, who helps her deal with traction alopecia. Kim Kardashian promoted the procedure Morpheus 8, which the surgeon Dr. Ghavami did on her stomach. She said on Instagram, "This is a game changer. I did Morpheus laser to tighten my stomach at Dr. Ghavami's spa," tagging the doctor. "I think this is my fave laser, but it's painful. LOL, but worth it." Iggy Azalea also worked with the same doctor and promoted him the same way through Instagram, saying on Instagram, "It might seem obvious. I'd hold the man I owe my fabulous nose and breasts in high regard. But vanity aside, Ash, you're hilarious as hell, talented, eclectic, a progressive thinker, and someone who supports women in their choice to do what they want with their own bodies. Tons of men don't share that sentiment. Tons of men don't profit from doing so." It's kind of a weird spin on it, but go off. "So cheers to you. I'm proud to call you my friend." Khloe Kardashian has claimed that she had a rhinoplasty through Dr. Raj Kanodia, which he confirmed through an Instagram post. Kylie Jenner claimed in a New York Times article that Dr. Simon Urian was the first person to inject her lips with lip filler. He's the best, and he's super natural about it. Plastic surgeon Dr. Garth Fisher appeared on Keeping Up with the Kardashians over the years, to the point that he's branded himself as the Kardashian plastic surgeon. He even has an entire page on his site dedicated to working with the Kardashians. But Dr. Garth isn't even the only person to tie his name in with working with the Kardashians. If the Kardashians visit a center, the center immediately posts about it on social media. Kris Jenner, who is 69 years old, was posting photos on social media where she looks, of course, beautiful, but also showcasing a sort of transformation where many deemed that she looked very young for her age. Online chatter rose with many people speculating over what procedure Kris Jenner had gotten and who had done the procedure. Page Six reported and People confirmed that plastic surgeon Dr. Stephen Levine was the person who performed Kris Jenner's transformation. With all of these social media promotions of these surgeries and plastic surgeons, questions arise. Are the Kardashians and other celebrities legitimately paying for these services? And then it just so happens that they organically share the surgery they got. They organically happen to share the plastic surgeon they went to for the procedure. Some sort of cross promotion happens just out of the goodness of their heart when these celebrities are getting paid millions for paid promotions. Or on the other hand, is there something else happening here? Is there a mutually beneficial trade-off occurring where the celebrity is getting, at the very least, work done for free in exchange for promotion of the plastic surgeon and the procedure they had? I mean, you can be the judge here. An interesting correlation to make is content creator and doctor Dr. Mike pressed someone in an interview about a really similar subject. Now, I'm not very versed about the specifics of the procedure he was pressing this person on, but celebrities were promoting this clinic. And when Dr. Mike interviewed the person asking if celebrities paid for this procedure or how exactly their exchange went, they immediately buckled.
Kim Kardashian pay for her test? She's like, why is that happening so often with celebrities?
I don't want you to take this personally, Dr. Mike, but I think it generally reflects a disillusionment with the medical system in general. And that people feel like they are, the system is not working for them.
So you think a person like Kim Kardashian doesn't have a system that works for her?
I don't know. I think it's interesting. Then there was a video I came across recently from Vanilla, an amazing content creator, claiming that a plastic surgery center in Turkey had reached out to her recently in hopes of a collaboration, which she declined.
I just got a DM from this plastic surgery center in Turkey, and they were like, hi, we're looking for more influencers to collaborate with. We work with people from all over the US and Canada and Europe, blah, blah. And they were like, we do surgeries such as reconstruction, hair transplants, and obesity. And the reason I'm laughing is because the thought of somebody in Turkey right now on that account who works at that plastic surgery center stumbling across my page and just scrolling through my posts, and they're just like, bald, fat. And they're probably just like, this one, she needs our help.
How often is this happening but not talked about? Again, the collaboration between celebrities, influencers, and plastic surgery centers is mutually beneficial. Celebrities and influencers gain new procedures that help with their brand and image, which they're able to further profit from. And the plastic surgery industry is able to promote a new surgery, promote their name, which of course they further profit from. Win-win, right? Except for the people who gain new insecurities and are just trying to keep up with the new surgery trends that celebrities promote. Just a few days ago, at the time of recording this video, British YouTuber Rachel Leary begged Kylie Jenner to share the details of her boob job.
This is a TikTok for Kylie Jenner, okay? If you're not Kylie Jenner and you don't care about boob jobs, plastic surgery, just keep scrolling. Girl, please, can you just tell us? I promise you, my followers, lovely, safe space on here. Please, can you just tell me /us/ anyone that's interested what it is that you asked for when you had your boobs done? To me, you have got what I am looking for.
Now, of course, transparency is great. It's super important. And credit to Kylie Jenner for giving transparency. Only 13 hours after that video was posted, Kylie Jenner commented, sharing the details of her procedure. She said, 445cc, moderate profile, half under the muscle, silicone. Garth Fisher. Hope this helps, lol. Garth Fisher was the branded Kardashian plastic surgeon that I mentioned earlier. He immediately took to Instagram, promoting her post in a massive wave of Instagram stories. The man was truly excited about this promotion. Kylie Jenner shares her boob job details, world star. Garth Fisher, MD, best plastic surgeon in the world. Of course this is your work. Garth Fisher, MD. Sir Garth, MD, amazing work as usual. A true master and a good friend. Dr. Garth also shares a statement that I think raises an important question. My cats are going crazy right now. I'm honored to be acknowledged by Kylie. Her kind post was unexpected, but truly appreciated. Patient confidentiality has always been the foundation of my practice. Over 3 decades. We've never had a single breach. My entire team is thoroughly trained and bound by strict NDAs and confidentiality agreements. This is more than policy, it's our culture. HIPAA laws are in place to protect patients, and I will never discuss any details of a procedure unless the patient has chosen to share them or give me permission. Every patient is unique. This isn't a cookbook surgery. It's thoughtful, personalized care. Thank you for your trust and understanding. But as soon as Kylie did share who she got her surgery by, he did blast it all over social media, which is interesting. I mean, she kind of consented to it, but it's just weird because this is a doctor, a surgeon who's now sharing that very publicly. Do plastic surgeon and celebrity crossovers blur the lines and raise ethical concerns over HIPAA? No. The plastic surgeons are almost becoming influencers in their own right, media personalities, and concerns over patient privacy may be becoming lost in the mix. Now there are plastic surgeon TikTokers who make TikToks speculating over what surgeries different celebrities have gotten done, which also feels like an ethical blurred line. Sure, these surgeons may not be those specific celebrities' doctors, but they are doctors, and they are spending their time on social media speculating over what surgery this person has gotten done, and they may be using that to indirectly promote that surgery that they do at their own office. Again, an ethically blurred line. Though I think if I don't mention here the validity of plastic surgery, I will be missing something in this video. Plastic surgery or aesthetic surgery throughout history was never seen as equal to other surgical specialties. Instead of people being referred to as patients, they're referred to as clients. And we know that medical insurance doesn't include a lot of aesthetic surgeries in their basic coverage. But within the umbrella of plastic surgery or aesthetic surgery are things like skin grafting, fixing deviated septums, eyelid surgery to help with your eyesight, a topic we'll revisit later in this video. To demonize plastic surgery or the women who get plastic surgery is not the answer, and is definitely not the intention of this video. But instead of plastic surgery having taken a holistic approach that looks at the individual, it's become a machine aimed at promoting the business of the surgeons and the trends of the beauty industry. It's plain as day, and it's obvious why that's problematic, though there's an even deeper problem to this that I want to address. Because who is in power and promoting the beauty standards within a system set up like this? Something that I kept circling back to when looking at the beauty trends in plastic surgery over the past few years and all of these procedures that have permeated social media and that celebrities have gotten is that there seems to be a general theme. And that theme is that, to me, much of these surgeries all root back to white supremacy. Because initially, much of these plastic surgeries had co-opted beautiful qualities of women of color and then promoted those surgeries to white women, or white women celebrities were often the ones getting those surgeries. And that kind of needs to be discussed. And then, like the flip of a switch, those same celebrities, those same influencers, those in the limelight decide to change the beauty standard back to skinny is in, thin frames, angular faces, Eurocentric beauty standards, essentially picking and choosing through plastic surgery when they want to promote Eurocentric beauty standards and when they want to co-opt beauty standards from women of color. And because they have the power and influence, they can change their bodies however they choose. They have the money, they have the influence and the followers, so they get to decide what exactly is beautiful. The reason why this is so problematic, besides, well, very obvious reasons, is because additionally, there are beauty standards within other cultures that get eliminated through this process entirely. And it creates a hierarchy where those within this higher class are the only ones who get a say over what is beautiful, instead of everyone from different cultures and backgrounds having a say over what is beautiful and their own definitions of beauty. For example, there's an African beauty standard known as neck rings.
The front, stunning. The back, gorgeous. The side, beautiful. The top, amazing. The bottom, perfect. From far away, glorious.
Or Japanese women have different preferences for noses as opposed to American women.
This is how different the beauty standards are between Japan and America. This is the current popular nose in America, whereas this is considered a popular nose in Japan. They call it a tall nose. They really like a high bridge. The farther away from like the face it is, the more beautiful. So that's something to think about. Maybe it'll help you have a newfound appreciation for your pretty little nose.
If we let the ruling class, the most wealthy and famous in the world, dictate what is beautiful and do so through getting plastic surgery and promoting that to the masses, all to convey that those are the features that are desirable in that moment, even stealing those features from other cultures, that feels incredibly dangerous. So let's talk really briefly about some of those plastic surgery trends that have happened within just the past, 3-4 years. I noticed I kind of threw around this speculation on white supremacy being associated with plastic surgery. Of course, I'm not an expert. That's just a theory in terms of the ruling class and how they're promoting plastic surgery and its usage. I think ultimately it's up to you as the individual viewer to judge, to come to your own conclusions. But I thought really quickly I would just define the characteristics of white supremacy so that I can sort of have a better foundation in which to describe these things in this video. According to whitesupremacyculture.info, white supremacy targets and violates BIPOC people and communities with the intent to destroy them directly. White supremacy targets and violates white people with a persistent invitation to collude that will inevitably destroy their humanity. White supremacy culture is inextricably linked to other oppressions: capitalism, sexism, class and gender oppression, ableism, ageism, Christian nationalism, essentially. These and more are all interconnected and intersected and stirred together in a toxic brew that is reflected in our devastation of the air and water and land and living beings we have and are destroying and disregarding in the name of profit and power. If you think that the industry of plastic surgery relates to this, then the shoe fits. If you don't think it relates to it, then it doesn't. Take that information as you will. Also, before we get into the trends of plastic surgery, I thought it was really interesting how much the Kardashian name came up in this video. It was not intentional, though I do think there is something interesting to be noted there. Not only is the Kardashian family a celebrity powerhouse of this generation who has dominated and set the beauty standard, but they have also done all of that predominantly through getting plastic surgery. It's kind of an uncomfortable truth, at least for me personally, because I don't like hyperfixating on people's appearances or talking about a specific person or group of people's appearances. So I don't like how much of this video is focused on the Kardashians, but ultimately it's a large focus of this video for an important reason. A large portion of the Kardashians' power in setting the beauty standard, when you look at the timeline of it all, has come through the usage of plastic surgery. So let's get into that and a timeline of plastic surgery trends. There is, of course, lip filler, which was initially promoted by Kylie Jenner, of course, most infamously, but quickly permeated mainstream and the masses, with influencers vlogging their process of getting lip filler, as well as showing their recovery, making lip filler seem very attainable to the public, all possibly in an effort for influencers to be more transparent with their audience, because if you go from having thin lips to very thick lips, unless you do it very subtly, it it's very obvious. I will say there's some people that have gotten allegations of having lip filler when they just gain weight, or people who naturally have thick lips, especially if they are from different cultural backgrounds, not white backgrounds. The concept of filler gained more and more popularity as celebrities moved on from getting just lip filler to filler in more places in their face, primarily in areas like their cheeks. Again, this idea started with celebrities like the Kardashians, where they were seen in public with their face appearing more filled, but especially in reality show culture, face filler quickly dominated the scene, particularly with middle-aged women like in the Real Housewives multiverse, where one would see Real Housewives get face filler and then receive backlash if they cross the line into the realm of too much face filler. Most recently, a lot of dating reality show stars like Love Island UK have received backlash for getting too much face filler, most notably in the UK, where regulations for injectors are more laxed. And I could kind of understand why this would be the case, because imagine you're just a normal person and you receive an offer to go on a reality show where millions of people are going to view you, and that's never happened before. All of a sudden, all these insecurities about yourself are surfacing, or you just want to treat yourself before going on television. So you go to an injector and get minimally invasive plastic surgery done. Because you're just a normal person, you don't have access to these celebrity plastic surgeons that know how to make things look good on television or do the most natural approach. So things might look a little bit extreme or wonky. But because this happens on reality TV so often or on social media, it starts to give the impression that this is the new norm, that this is the beauty standard, even if people are simultaneously put off by it. Again, talking about this sort of Kardashian plastic surgery era, it's essential to talk about the rise of the BBLs. Though underlying all of that, of course, the Kardashians co-opted the beauty standard of other races continuously, and BBLs are just another example of that. And now, especially in certain parts of the country, there's an entire culture around receiving BBLs, even though it's been categorically known as the most dangerous form of plastic surgery you can receive. There's even a known thing called the BBL smell, where you can develop a certain smell down there, and it's allegedly so bad that the Miami airport has a certain smell to it.
So, as someone who literally works in plastic surgery post-op care, I be around a lot of BBLs. After a BBL, though, I will say the smells are not that pleasant.
I do want to say I'm not saying all of this to shame anyone for getting any of these surgeries, but I do think that we've swayed a little bit culturally to not talking about the downsides or the potential drawbacks of any of these surgeries, because there are a lot of consequences and dangerous aspects, or recovery or downtime, or even just blatant disappointments that can happen with these sort of surgeries that aren't discussed.
It's not gonna smell good because it's literally pus and blood and shit from your body. Another reason it stinks is because you're in a faja. You're supposed to stay in that faja for days, right? So what happens is you got all that pus and blood coming out that already doesn't smell great. You're in the same faja 4 days, a lot of times. You're sweating and you have your natural must, and you have a lot of smells mixing together. Oh, and I forgot this part. You still have to shit, right? You still have to shit. And your butt is kind of hard, still swollen from all that freshly injected fat. And it's been sitting in a faja. And you now have, well, you're a part of the club now. You have 17 miles of ass crack. And you cannot necessarily clean yourself as good as you might need, you be used to. Because you're not like taking full-on showers. You're not doing that 48 hours post-op.
And yet it's branded as liberation. It's not liberation if it's only freeing you from insecurity. And I feel like that is a scam that is purposeful, because this is an industry that profits off of insecurities. Quickly after the rise of the BBLs, people started getting BBLs from dangerous, unaccredited individuals because they wanted a BBL so badly. Well, soon after, celebrities started popping up with other surgeries, such as the ponytail ponytail lift. This is where your eyebrows get kind of raised up and it gives you a sort of half facelift. And a few celebrities had gotten this done, like Kendall Jenner, Ariana Grande, Bella Hadid. There's a Reddit post that claims this is the point where we started to reach the uncanny valley effect, where many celebrities started to look alien-like or even robotic. Of course, there's a lot of pressure in the spotlight for people to look perfect, to maintain their appearance, especially for women. So of course, I understand the need to want to maintain your appearance, but also maybe this was the start of creating a beauty standard that will never be attainable for the normal person. No normal person can attain the uncanny valley effect without getting plastic surgery. Is that done intentionally to separate the celebrity from the normie? After the ponytail lift, there was the buccal fat removal, which I don't even really understand this one. It was removing fat from your cheeks, removing the fat from the sides of your face. But the thing is, that happens naturally as you age. So why would you want to do that prematurely? This, as well as the ponytail lift, shows a new sign of a shift in trend of looking as sharp and as angular as possible. And right at the same time as those two trends hit, the weight loss drug Ozempic hit as well. The return of skinny is in. Of course, the rise in Ozempic is a whole other beast to discuss, with a lot of benefits to those who are in need of Ozempic. But many celebrities and those in the media or in the spotlight heavily utilized Ozempic to suddenly change the narrative from the curvaceous BBL look to going back to skinny is in, setting the beauty standard back to skinny. And through that, subtly communicating that they are the ones with the riches, the ones with the fame, the ones with the power. They're the ones who get to set the beauty standard. They're the ones in control. And the recent surgery that has dominated a lot of discussion on whether or not plastic surgery has gone too far is eyelid removal, hooded eyelid surgery. This is the latest plastic surgery that people apparently are doing in Los Angeles. The removal of their hooded eyes, one of the reasons being so they can apparently better apply makeup. And the reason this came to a lot of people's attention is because of the influencer Brooke Schofield. Brooke shared online that she had gotten the procedure done.
This is my day one blepharoplasty update. Okay, I got it yesterday morning. This is technically like the second day, but this is what it looks like. It honestly looks really scary. It's like black and blue. I still have my stitches in, but so far I am so happy. I know most of you probably won't be able to see the vision yet, but just the difference between now and then, like I've never been able to see that much eyelid, and I love it.
In all fairness to Brooke, she has been incredibly open about every single procedure that she has gotten done, even what would be considered very minor things, which is probably very refreshing in light of these other famous people who don't share and just come out with this drastic transformation.
I debated on whether or not I even wanted to share this. I kind of thought I wanted to be one of those who just like pops out looking brand new, pretends nothing happened, but I'm cutting my eyelids off tomorrow. I've always had hooded eyes, never like bad hooded eyes, not that there are bad hooded eyes, but it's never affected my vision. It's never like really bothered me that much until more recently. It really started to bother me when I realized like I couldn't do my makeup the same. Okay, I don't know if you can see my eyelid. I just have like all this extra skin here that like covers my eyelid.
That being said, due to my earlier theory of plastic surgery having roots in white supremacy, I do think it's interesting that Brooke has a prominent history of racism. Can we, I don't know, talk a little bit about the racial background and history of hooded eyes? Talk about why it may be a very bad thing to demonize hooded eyes or see them as an ugly feature when it's a prominent feature in certain races? Can we talk about that? There are also so many famously beautiful people who have hooded eyes. I don't even understand the concept of it being seen as something you need to remove from your body.
I feel like I've always been a supporter of plastic surgery in way of like making yourself feel better and doing things that like are good for you. But then I just saw Brooke Schofield's TikTok where she got her eyelids cut. There's gotta be a limit. Like, some lips look like they're gonna explode. Like, everyone, Like, you girls are beautiful. It kills me.
From what I am aware of, this removal process was once something deemed a medical procedure, not a cosmetic procedure, for someone who needs it for their vision. And now it's being marketed as an aesthetic procedure. There's an inherent classism when it comes to plastic surgery. Plastic surgery is expensive. Just with the procedures and things that we just discussed, let's talk about the average cost. The average cost for lip filler in the US is almost $1,000 per session. Face filler, cheek filler, etc. depends, mostly on the amount of filler and the areas you're getting filled, but the average cost in the US is $600 to $1,200 per syringe, and most patients need more than one syringe per session. Though it seems that also the problem is most patients are overfilling their face, being told that filler dissolves every 6 months, even though there was a lack of comprehensive studies on the matter, and we now have evidence that filler stays in your body for much longer than ever previously thought and even migrates around. The average cost for a BBL is over $8,000 in the US. The average cost for a ponytail lift really surprised me because that seemed kind of simple. It's just like a lifting of your eyebrows, I thought, but it's on average $10,000 to $15,000. The average cost for buccal fat removal is $3,000. If you want to take Ozempic just for weight loss, the cost can vary widely, even costing up to $1,000 a month because the baseline cost for the medication is about $1,000 a month. Hooded eye surgery can range from $4,000 to $10,000, depending on if you're doing just your upper lid or both your upper and lower lid, etc. So if you're influenced to get all of these plastic surgeries and even more to constantly keep up with the latest beauty trends in plastic surgery, you're looking at tens to hundreds of thousands of dollars. But that's also disregarding the fact that these are surgeries with downtime, recovery, and potential negative results or lifelong complications. And we're told that all of this is to help us feel better. We're numb to what we see on social media, as every day we see these influencers and celebrities bragging about an insane amount of wealth as more and more people are suffering. And plastic surgery is just one of another long list of insane things that these people are doing and spending their money on that makes them so out of touch with the rest of the world. In fact, they're influencing us to try and live that sort of lifestyle when most of us should never try to live that lifestyle. Through sharing these glamorized images, are celebrities and media figures trying to dominate the beauty standard? Are they trying to consciously and deliberately rule over the beauty standard, essentially exert their power and control through dictating what's determined beautiful? And would it matter if they were deliberately doing it or not if the cause and effect remains the same? Influencers, on the other hand, feel like a step below the most richest and famous people in the world. It feels like influencers in a way are just imitating what they see the most rich and famous people doing. And then they're creating a social media platform where they're mass distributing this information to the rest of the world, metabolizing this information into consumables for people to consume. Influencers undoubtedly play a role, but how much blame do they have in the system at hand? This is why the influencer is both the swindler and the patsy, taking part in the system, yet equally having no idea what system they're taking part in. Some people have said, well, at least with influencers, they're sharing the process, they're being open with it, so you can be educated and choose whether or not you want to do that surgery. While a possible positive with influencers is that at least they're being open and sharing what surgeries they're having. On the other hand, in marketing, there's literally a term called educating the market. With more education comes more awareness of these expensive surgeries. So more people are doing these expensive surgeries, are spending more money on it. The plastic surgery industry grows as more everyday people are simply opting to do those. Another example is veneers. My grandfather's a dentist, and he has always told me that when you get veneers too young, you'll have constant root canals if you don't take care of them. So he has always told me to never get veneers too young, but people are opting to do them younger and younger because more and more celebrities are sharing that they've had veneers. More influencers are getting veneers. It's exposed to the public. Is that a positive thing or is that reckless? In the same way that with knowing about BBLs, people who aren't able to afford BBLs from a reputable surgeon start looking for BBLs from a disreputable surgeon in dangerous places, getting dangerous procedures. Are we better off knowing about these procedures, being educated on them, or having never known about them at all? Social media is now being used as a tool, essentially, for the upper class to now brag about their placement in high society, to show off all the things that they can do in their life that we cannot do. Whether that's someone like Kendall Jenner who gets a ponytail lift, doesn't talk about it, but we can see the obvious change, or a more accessible influencer like Brooke Schofield who gets her eyelid removal and does talk about it openly. All of these surgeries are not realistic or attainable for most people. And most of these influencers and celebrities are able to capitalize off of their surgeries through some way. Kendall Jenner is a model. She's able to capitalize off of her appearance. Brooke Schofield is able to capitalize through posting online, gaining publicity in any way, showing off their transformations alongside posting their luxurious lifestyles. At the end of the day, social media in this weird dystopic time is just a way to show through pictures, not even words, I'm above you socially. And plastic surgery is another way that this is becoming accomplished. Even if we're becoming educated on the trends that the upper class are receiving, if you're not able to get them or can't afford them, then you're left out of everything completely. What I'm trying to say is, even if we pretend like plastic surgery is a personal choice, ultimately it's a class divider. Let's even briefly talk about some plastic surgery industry statistics. The global cosmetic surgery market size was valued at $56.94 billion in 2024, but the market is projected to grow from $59.13 billion in 2025 to $76.77 billion by 2032. And it's been reported that the cosmetic surgery market has grown significantly due to rising disposable incomes, societal pressures for enhanced physical appearance, and advancements in medical technology. And this is not just a problem for women. The cosmetic surgery industry is expanding into areas for men as well, and that's their main target in these upcoming years. An even more bizarre question is this recent rise in plastic surgery that we're seeing the first step towards transhumanism?
BBL baddies are an early form of transhumanism. We usually think of transhumanism as designer babies, like genetic modification or uploading your brain onto a computer, but actually, aesthetic identity augmentation is one of the first examples of like your virtual identity becoming enmeshed with your physical being. The organic body, me right here on this bench, becomes intertwined with the imagined body, the avatar that people inhabit online. Essentially, if you were surgically altering your offline body to get closer to your digitally imagined self, you have now become not just a person, but an aesthetic operating system. You are essentially a downloadable avatar.
Transhumanism is the position that human beings should be permitted to use technology to modify and enhance human cognition and bodily function, expanding abilities and capacities beyond current biological constraints. How, at least I often think of transhumanism, is akin to the anime series Cyberpunk. I think that's what people often think of when the concept of transhumanism is brought up, utilizing adaptive technologies such as bionic implants, brain chips, even expanding upon things that we're currently utilizing like stem cells or in vitro fertilization. Of course, the criticism for this sort of movement is, of course, when it comes to the idea of perfecting the human form. Well, there's been lots of movements like that in the past that have gone down a dark path or have been very problematic from their inception. So that being said, even relating the concept of transhumanism, you can probably see how it ties into the concept of plastic surgery, utilizing technology to improve the human form, and why that becomes problematic. Because who dictates what or how exactly one improves the human form? People don't necessarily identify plastic surgery surgery as a form of transhumanism, yet people have been noted as appearing uncanny, the uncanny valley effect, due to so many plastic surgery modifications. I believe personally that the two are related and that plastic surgery may be the first form of transhumanism taking shape in our society. When things manifest in reality, they often appear different than how we imagine them to be. Similar to how AI is making art rather than advancing human technology like we initially imagined, transhumanism may be utilized by us to continually push the beauty standards, all for the wealthy classes, until it's completely out of reach for the lower classes, instead of expanding areas of our intelligence or physical capabilities. So, now that you know all of this, do you agree with women getting plastic surgery? I want you to think on your knee-jerk response to that question. And yes, I just said women, even though all genders get plastic surgery, because usually when the concept of plastic surgery is talked about, it's just women who are brought up, and it's just women where controversy lies. Of course, it's easy to see in a broad view the destruction that women getting plastic surgery is doing to the beauty standard. But also, women face tons of backlash on either side, no matter what choice they make for their body. It truly is a lose-lose situation. For example, there's the actress Nina Dobrev. I hope I said her name right. I've been terrible with pronunciations lately. Nina has had so much backlash for her face changing, when it doesn't appear that she's had any drastic plastic surgery done, and what has happened is her face has just aged. She has just naturally aged. And yet people in her comment section have flooded saying what has happened to your face in extremely negative and hateful ways. Aging happens in tons of different ways. Sometimes people lose fat in different parts of their face. And because now we aren't used to seeing aging on social media, there are so many different comments and articles saying what happened to Nina Dobrev's face. Zooey Deschanel has received similar comments for, on some level, naturally aging. Of course, when it comes to these women, what procedures they've chosen to do or not do, I can't say. I'm not their plastic surgeon. I'm not them. I don't know what they've gotten done to their bodies. But objectively, it looks like Zooey Deschanel has chosen to naturally age to at least a certain extent, which I think nowadays is a form of activism in itself. Yet she is flooded with negative comments about her appearance and face on social media. These examples show that women are not allowed to age naturally and gracefully in the public eye. And a lot of negative comments come from other women. What do you think that makes other young women who stumble upon those comments feel about aging? But at the same time, if you get too much plastic surgery to try and combat the problem, you will also be flooded with negativity. One of the most prominent examples of this is Erin Moriarty, who plays Star from The Boys. From one season to the next, she had had a couple plastic surgery procedures done. It had seemed, again, I'm not her or her plastic surgeon, so I can't say. And the comments and online discussion was just flooded with mainly men discussing her change in appearance. Demi Moore received a ton of backlash for what was believed to be a botched plastic surgery. Adriana Lima also received a ton of backlash for a runway appearance where she looked different, and it was believed that she also had a botched plastic surgery. Botched plastic surgery is basically where you opted to get surgery, the surgeon did not do a good job. These women got backlash for surgery that was not their fault, but the surgeon's fault for doing a poor job. But then for both Adriana Lima and Demi Moore, they made follow-up appearances where they ended up showing off their new and improved faces, essentially showing that their plastic surgery was not actually botched, their faces were not ruined, and they ended up being celebrated for it. Like they're heroes for having good plastic surgery and now looking younger than they actually are. Because God forbid a woman ever look her age. And then there's women who are celebrated for getting good plastic surgery. Christina Aguilera, Anne Hathaway, Gwen Stefani. The biggest question is, what example does this set for young women when all they see in the media is women getting vilified for aging naturally and celebrated and loved when they never age for getting the right kind of plastic surgery? We seem to have so many strong opinions about the right way a woman should age, the right level of plastic surgery she should get. In my opinion, this is creating creating a scary dynamic where the plastic surgery industry can completely take control because it doesn't offer much nuance, forgiveness, or understanding. On top of that, there are trans women who need plastic surgery, and they need it to be accessible and affordable, not unattainable, expensive, and trending. I strongly believe the only way around this is to embrace beauty in all forms, in all cultural backgrounds and beauty standards, and especially in all ages. If we cannot do that, we'll be at the mercy of industries who can control us instead of choosing to do what we feel like is truly our choice in the moment. Because plastic surgery at the end of the day shouldn't be vilified if it's your choice that you're making for your own body, not an industry working to exploit you, profit off of you, and all of the pressures you feel. At the end of this video, I think it's important to share my own story, my own insecurities, and how I tried to fix them. Even though I hate talking about these things, I do think the only way forward is a level of vulnerability, because I'm sure I'm not the only person who's experienced this. My own experience with the plastic surgery industry started with becoming a new mother and also feeling incredibly lost and insecure as a new mother. When I became a mom, I wasn't really sure who I was anymore. I felt like the world looked at me as no longer a woman, but now looked at me as a mother, and I wasn't really sure what that meant or how that felt. On top of that, I had a new mom body, and it felt like just a transformation. All of these things that left me ripe with insecurities. Essentially, I was an easy person to prey upon, I think. Additionally, well, I film myself on camera for a living, so I unfortunately have to stare at my face more than I think is a reasonable or healthy amount for any person to ever do, which can lead to even more insecurities, especially when your body naturally goes through changes, or especially when people point those changes out in comments, which, to be fair to influencers, I think is exactly the experience they have as well. This was around the time that a lot of content regarding face balancing was coming out.
Let me take you through what I did for my sister's facial balancing treatment. When she came in, she really wanted lip filler, but I said no. But it's because I had something entirely different in mind for her. During my assessment, I noticed her chin is a little shorter compared to her other features. If I were to just add volume to her lips, it would put her face off balance. I added filler to her chin and to her chin shadows. The chin shadow is this little hollow area between the lip and the chin. Adding filler to those areas helped give her more projection and length to her face. Adding more volume to her lips helped her nose appear smaller. Most recently, added filler to her cheek, specifically this part of the medial cheek where it was a little bit flat, gave her more of a sculpted contour. Instead of just filling her lips, I approached her entire face as a whole, which helped harmonize all of her facial features, and I'm obsessed with her full facial balancing treatment.
I really got in my head that my face was unbalanced. My entire life, I've had a dimpled chin, and in general, I have a very overexpressive face. My eyebrows are constantly moving as I talk. One eyebrow is lower than the other, and my you can see it like this. I have a dimple in my chin, and staring at my face a lot and seeing other people talk about how these things are not normal or they're not good, or you can balance out your face and eliminate these aspects. I became more insecure about it. I thought that I needed to eliminate these parts of my face in order to look better. So I got Botox in my chin. I got Botox in my forehead. I'm sure you can go back into other videos of mine and see when my eyebrows aren't moving. And that's the times that I recently had gotten Botox. I also tried lip filler, though I have not for a while now. First off, because of all the studies of migration, but also because it hurts like a fucking bitch. I'm only saying this because I know my experience is not uncommon. I'm sure other people have experienced what I've experienced, and I'm sure it requires a lot of work and effort to rebel from all of those external pressures telling you what you need to change about yourself so that you can embrace your natural self. And I'm not even sure if that's what we should do. I don't really know what the answer is. We're all constantly seeing everyone around us being embraced and celebrated for getting these expensive procedures done. So it's natural to feel the pressure to do these things as well.
Hey, what do you think about getting Botox? Ooh, that is a totally fair question, since Botox and other cosmetic alterations are becoming almost ubiquitous for women around my age or even younger, and I'm not immune to criticism, and it might improve the way that people perceive me. Like, I think a lot about losing the currency of youth, to quote Fleabag, as in I realize that the way that people treat me day to day will change once I'm no longer perceived as being youthful enough to be an object of desire or approval. Right. No, I guess. But I've seen a couple women recently express that they instantly regretted their Botox because they were no longer able to move their faces and they started feeling claustrophobic in their own bodies. Think about what that means. When we freeze our faces, we are self-optimizing for consumption rather than expression, and that is really scary to me. And of course, body alterations are nothing new historically, but the more people participate in a trend, the more it becomes an expectation rather than an active choice that an individual can make.
I didn't realize this was going to be a whole...
So then the question becomes, am I going to have to get this procedure in order to be accepted at all? Is it a political act to not alter my body in an effort to maintain my youthful appearance? The more normalized these cosmetic procedures become, the more political it will be to choose to not participate. So we have to ask ourselves, how much do we want to be accepted and by whom? And is it an overstatement to say that aging naturally is radical self-acceptance? If I don't get Botox, maybe I lose the currency of youth faster, but it also means that no one can profit off of my face or my insecurity. And ultimately, insecurities are invented and reinvented all the time, and then we're sold a cure, and that's where patriarchy meets capitalism. And as we all know, capitalism is the root of all evil.
When it comes to plastic surgery in the beauty industry, I don't know what the healthy mentality to have is. I'm on my own journey of self-discovery every day. I'm trying to love myself and care less and less about outside factors, heal from my traumas, not be a people pleaser, heal from shame, yet still be a good person with morals and ethics and my own sense of values. That being said, categorically, history has a tendency to repeat itself. And one society has trended towards denying people their individuality, their own creativity, their own freedoms, and especially telling people that they should all look a certain way. And that certain way is reflected in those within the upper class or higher nobility. Well, throughout history, that has always been a sign of trouble.